What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to the JTFB YouTube channel here on Taking Command with Josh Taylor. As always, I'm still covering the Washington Commanders. As you can tell, there's a couple changes going on with the YouTube channel as I've kind of converted it more to just my personal brand of growing. Not only talking about the Washington Commanders, of course, and all the craziness that goes on with the team, highs and lows in that game last night, which I'm going to talk about, but also including the NFL draft coverage with player breakdowns, interviews, just stuff that I've done on another channel for the last like 3 or 4 years, going to the Senior Bowl, like I said, talking to guys there, going to the NFL draft, so on, mock drafts, film breakdowns, like I said, you name it. A lot of my content and stuff has really come from covering the draft, the scouting academy, kind of just learning the ins and outs of watching tapes, what to look for, and really evaluating players. So I'm excited to bring together two things that I am very passionate about with the Washington Commanders, and then with the whole process of the NFL draft. And of course, I'll put the two together sometimes, talk about some prospects for Washington, do some mock drafts and stuff like that. But still, if you're here watching the Washington stuff, I'm still going to do that. So you'll see Taking Command with Josh Taylor on that playlist. But then also, if you are interested in the draft stuff, whether you're a Washington fan or not, you'll see that on the draft board playlist on my channel. So subscribe, and I'll be covering y'all on both of those subjects here on the channel. But I got to talk about this game last night. The primetime letdown is what I'm calling it, as the Giants beat us 20-12. You can't tell by my voice. I was at the game last night, FedEx Field, in that back end zone where the Terry flag and the Curtis Samuel pass interference debacle was. I was directly behind Curtis Samuel, like 20 rows up. So as you can tell, just bear with me on my voice. It's going to be a while till I get this back. But it was well worth it. I have to say, off the jump, I knew the night games at FedEx Field are always so much fun. Night games in general are just so much better than a 1 o'clock game. Yes, it's a nightmare getting to the stadium with the afternoon traffic and stuff like that. I live like 2.5 hours away from Landover. And of course, coming home takes like 4 hours. But still, FedEx Field was jumping last night. A couple people trickled in a little bit late because of the traffic. It was just a giant mess trying to park and everything. But still, by like middle of the first quarter, that place was rocking. It was loud. A couple plays, that place just exploded. Third downs were good. Yes, I think it can still get a little bit better. There was still a good bit of Giants fans, but nothing like I've seen in the past. I went to the Giants game last year, and there was Giants fans everywhere. It was way worse last year than it was this year, hands down. But still, there's so much to unpack with this game. Such a disappointing loss. The thing that really bugs me is how this game was just set up to be such a statement game for us. It's like everything was presented on a platter. We tie the Giants in their stadium 2 weeks ago. They had a rough game against the Eagles, got beat up, physical team. Obviously, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. So they got beat up there by a division rival. We have our bye week. It gets flexed to Sunday Night Football. It's prime time. Like I said, it's a nighttime game. FedEx Field was rocking. This was the game for us to just take what was ours. It's no more of, oh, we need so-and-so to lose. We need so-and-so to win. No, it is up to us to go out there and put the work in and get the win. Like straight up, it was ours to take. The playoff chances between winning and losing this game were so dramatic for both sides, getting that wild card spot. And with this win, the Giants are comfortably in the playoffs right now. There's a lot that needs to happen for them to get knocked out. But for Washington, we're just hanging on to that last playoff wild card spot right now. But right behind us is the Seahawks, and they have like the Chiefs. I forgot who else they have coming up. But then like the Lions, they have the head-to-head over us. Then, of course, they've got an easy schedule coming up. They got like the Panthers, Bears, and Packers, I want to say. Someone's going to look it up for me. But they've got a pretty easy schedule. Like the Lions might actually somehow make the playoffs. But they have the head-to-head over us. The Giants have the head-to-head over us now after this. So it's just disappointing. Every opportunity was there. And the way that we lost this game, obviously I'm going to talk about the refs and the bad calls. But this was Washington had 4 quarters to just take over the game, and they couldn't do it. And the Giants, it's not like they looked good, to be honest with you. The best player on the field for the Giants was Kayvon Thibodeaux all night, obviously. Just giving Charles Leno fits. I've loved Kayvon Thibodeaux as a prospect. If you watched anything that I did on my other show back in the, like last year, CFB Unfiltered, like I said, on another channel, if you follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, you probably have seen it. I was so high on Kayvon Thibodeau. This thing saying like, oh, he takes reps off. Oh, his motor's not that high. He kind of disappears. No, the guy can show up in big moments, and he absolutely made the difference last night. But let's just break this down. First half, it's like we could run the ball at will against the Giants, but our passing offense was non-existent. Taylor Heinicke was 7 for 14 for 55 yards, and it was still just a 14-3 score at halftime. So super low scoring, but it just felt like we had no passing threat at all. And it's been like that for a lot of games this season. I've said it many times, and it's not even just a Wentz versus Heinicke thing. It is just a bubble of overall mediocrity at the quarterback position for so long. I'm going to talk a lot about the quarterbacks. Like I said, if you follow me on Twitter, you know how I feel about the quarterback situation and how the Heinicke hive comes out. And when apparently I found out today, Wentz has his little group too. People coming out. And of course, you got the Hal stands. I'm a big time Hal fan. Loved him to death. Spent a lot of time with him at the Senior Bowl. I was a big fan of him at UNC. I think he definitely has a chance to be the starting quarterback of the future. We don't know. But for me, it's just Washington doesn't have that threat. And I will say with Wentz, the upside to the vertical passing game is absolutely there. You see the arm strength. You saw the drop to Terry against the Jags. Same to Jahan Dotson, that game winner. You see the deep bomb to De'Ami Brown against the Titans from Wentz. So you saw a lot of good. But then also it's like the floor for this offense is lower with Wentz than it is with Heinicke because he takes too many sacks. He has terrible pocket awareness. He's like, what, 6'5", like 6'6". He's a giant just standing in the pocket, and he can't really get away like Heinicke can. It's just Heinicke doesn't have the arm strength that Wentz does. So we can somehow put, oh God, I still don't even think it'd be that good of a quarterback, but putting Heinicke in like Carson Wentz's body, like his, mobility and pocket awareness, which really hasn't been that good the last few games either for Heinicke. But we just need to get this quarterback situation figured out. But the offensive line was atrocious last night too, and it has been at times. Obviously, a lot of people banged up. Trey Turner was god awful yesterday at that right guard spot. I mean, there's a couple plays I tweeted out. There was one where he just literally let the guy through and they just stood there and waited for Heinicke to step up in the pocket. Like, what are you doing? It was Wes Schweitzer. He's not a center, but he played and started at center yesterday. Was pretty good for the most part. Honestly, except for the one ball that went over Heinicke's head and he had to like catch it. And then he just like looked down real quick and threw almost interception that was dropped in the end zone. But still, the offensive line has been so bad. I'm definitely going to be talking about offensive linemen for the NFL draft on the channel for not even just Washington. Like I said, just player breakdowns. I've already got a ton of guys watching their films now, breaking down. I think there's a lot of big time players in this draft. This isn't the flashiest, most like home, names that like you've had in years past, like Rashawn Slater and guys like that. But there's still some really good guys that can really help out, whether it's the guard spot, both tackle spots. So there's a lot of guys I like, but still Washington has to get this quarterback situation figured out. And for me, you look at that sack fumble for touchdown. Once again, Kayvon Thibodeau, great get off on Charles Leno. Just a fast get off, hit him for that first strike, that stiff arm with the left hand and his shoulder, turn Charles Leno. He dips down, uses that speed on the outside, and he's in Taylor Heinicke's blind side. It's an easy strip sack. He gets out of the way, gets through Heinicke, picks the ball up. He's in the end zone, touchdown. And I'm just like, you can't have that at that spot of the field, especially. That is a backbreaker early on in the game. So that it's just like every time the Giants had a lot of momentum throughout the game, but they were still like, hey, Washington, here you go. Here's a chance. And Washington really couldn't take it over. But they finally do get momentum after the Jahan Dotson touchdown, which was a great throw by Wentz. First off, Jahan Dotson, he's hitting like a post route. He's going up, hits a little rocker step on the corner, gets him off a little bit, gets that inside. Jahan Dotson gets separation so easily. It's insane. Love Jahan. Obviously, you see the flag with Penn State. That's a helmet signed by Jahan Dotson over there, Penn State helmet. But he gets so much separation with ease. It is, and even in the red zone, there's not much space. He attacks his routes so beautifully. I think he's the best route runner rookie in the whole class. I think for me, he was one of the best wide receivers in the entire class. I still think he is with his route running, with his hands, with his speed. Like he does everything, body control. And then we saw in the game where he goes up later on and mosses a guy with his size. It's so impressive. But still, Washington gets momentum with the Jahan Dotson touchdown. But for some reason, Ron goes for 2, and it's a great play call. Pre-snap, Curtis Samuel comes in motion, goes out. There's a little route in the flats there, and they call Jahan Dotson for, I guess, like a pick or like a moving screen. It was not at all rubber. Like he didn't interfere the play at all. It was a terrible call there. Also, so even though Curtis Samuel catches it, the 2-point conversion comes back as a flag, and now Joey Sly's got to kick like a 40-something yard extra point, and he misses it. So all that momentum that you just built up, you got with the Jahan Dotson touchdown. That place is jumping. It's going crazy. It's loud. It's just immediately sucked away because of the 2-point conversion you went for, which I kind of really wasn't that mad at, because like, what's the difference? If you go for 2, it's a 3-point game. If you don't, it goes from 4 to 5. Like, who cares? But still, for me, I'm like, just the momentum of how everything happened. It's now 14-9, and now you're like, great, flag, we missed the extra point. It's 14-9 now. Like, we just built up all that momentum and just got sucked out like it was nothing. Now Washington's down 17-12. Heinicke has his best play possibly of his career. The best pass I've seen from him. I didn't know he was capable of throwing it 60 yards. A 61-yard bomb to Jahan Dotson, who, like I said, shows his body control. Timing, everything was there. Heinicke gave him a chance, and Jahan Dotson made one of the catches of the season for us. A 61-yard bomb, like I say, just jumps over the guy, catches it, and that place was jumping. It's a first down. He throws that ball on a first down. That's what we have been dying for. I didn't even know that play call exists for Scott Turner on first down, but it does. I told my buddy Aaron that was at the game. He's like, yo, I got to use the bathroom. I was like, we might as well do it now. Like, we got a long ways to go down the field. It's only first down. We're going to run it like 10 times, and nothing crazy is going to happen. And God, I was wrong. A 61-yard bomb to Jahan Dotson. But then after that, he follows it up on 3rd and 4 at the 5, takes a sack fumble at the Giants 5. And it was so close. I know it was so close. They had to look at it. But you can't do that. You have one of your best plays of the season followed up by one of the worst in your career. With the game, the game situation, where you are on the field, the time, the score, everything, it was there for you. But it's still not over after the Giants get a field goal. It's 20-12. Washington drives down. Heinicke runs to the end zone and somehow doesn't score. You've seen the video. Jahan Dotson's leading them. Kayvon Thibodeaux is like 10 yards in the end zone. And Heinicke is just so determined to go to that pylon for some reason. And I've seen some people say they're mad that Jahan Dotson didn't, try to block Kayvon. I'm not asking our first round. He's like, what, a buck 90, like soaking wet, to lower his shoulder and put his body on the line against Kayvon Thibodeaux, who's, a giant freak, by the way. The lane was there. I don't know why he cut to the right side, and he was going so slow for some reason. All he has to do is put his foot in the ground, cut to the left, and Jahan is in the way enough for him to score, just walking to the end zone. So I have no idea what was going on that play. It was crazy, but it just shows you time after time after time. You go down the field, you get the bomb. You at least get a field goal out of it, and it's 17-12. And it's just like you have this opportunity, and then he fumbles. You go down the field, he has a touchdown, can't get it. There's two different chances where you've had an opportunity to put points on the board and you're not getting it. It's 3rd and goal at the 1. B-Rob runs in for a touchdown. And, of course, we know the flag with Terry. Crazy, awful call. Checks with the ref. Says he's good. Apparently he's not good. That same ref throws a flag on him. Says you weren't lined up on the line like you're supposed to be. And then, of course, you've got the awful no call in the end zone against Curtis Samuel. with the pass interference. So you can blame the refs for this one. Absolutely, because that ending was just awful. The refs are not supposed to determine the outcome of the games. And even if so, like they're like, oh, I don't know, it was close in the end zone. We don't want to call it a flag and then give, Washington that easy touchdown. Still, we have to go for two. It's like, regardless of it's a ticky-tacky PI call, and you think that's determining the outcome of the game, we still have to get the 2-point conversion and earn the win, or just to go to overtime. And then we really have to earn the win. So for me, it just makes it's bad. Like I said, I was right there in that end zone. It was obviously a PI call, but at the end of the day, you can play it on both sides. Yes, the refs absolutely wrecked this with the 2-point conversion. And then also at the end there, with the B-Rob touchdown and then Curtis Samuel in the end zone. But still, Washington just had so many chances to, get this game out of reach. Even though we were down 14-3. We had so many chances in that second half to just put points on the board, and we couldn't do it because of turnovers. And it's just like, it was there. This was the playoffs was on a platter for you, and you didn't want it. You just didn't want it. And like I said, with B-Rob running the ball at will that first half, he finished with 12 carries for 89 yards, 7.4 average, only had 5 attempts in the second half. So they got away from it. And yes, I think they should have ran the ball more. Absolutely. And the power runs were working. The Curtis Samuel, like tricky, in and rounds and like counter stuff like that, like sweeps, that wasn't working. So Scott Turner should have got away from that. The give me run in really wasn't working either. They're like, just keep running B-Rob down their throat because they couldn't get him down. But at some point, this is a passing league. I don't care if you are Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Taylor Heinicke, Pat Mahomes, whoever you are, you have to be able to throw the ball in this league. You have to be able to be a passing threat to the other defense. The Giants knew we were going to run the ball. They knew it. They still couldn't stop us all the way. And we still had some big plays. Like I said, the Jahan Dotson touchdown, great. The bomb to Jahan, awesome. But you need more. You need a consistent passing game. You saw the Curtis Samuel play where it was like, what, a 20-yard gain on that right side before, like while we were driving down the field. It's the same exact play where Carson Wentz hit Terry on that right sideline against the Jaguars. Perfect timing, perfect ball placement. Gets it in there. I think it was the same cover 2 defense, 2 safeties up high. Safety was too late coming over for the Jags. Terry's in the end zone. It was the same play. Heinicke did not lead Curtis Samuel to the end zone like Wentz did to Terry, and it was costly. That was another opportunity to score a touchdown. He had it. But instead of threading it on a rope, dropping it over, it doesn't matter if it's, like I said, a rope, or if he is dropping it in, he had it. The safety was tripping and fumbling. Like, he was not in a position to be anywhere close to that play. So it's so frustrating because instead of walking into the end zone, Curtis Samuel stops, jumps up, catches it like it's just like some corner fade or something. No, it is a 9 route straight up the seam on the sideline. My dude can hit the Deion Sanders strut all the way into the end zone if he wanted to. There's just so many missed opportunities. You can't do that. So second half wise, it's just, you can say the refs messed up the ending of the game, but Washington messed up 4 quarters. It took way too long to get the offense going in the first half. You had 55 yards passing in the first half. And then second half, when you are making things working, you can't close out drives. The drive with the Jahan Dotson bomb ends in 0 points. You pick up 61 yards on the first play of the drive, and you finish with 0 points that drive. Are you kidding me? So I can't be so mad at the rest because we still had the chances and opportunities to put this game away, but we couldn't do it. At some point, you've got to run the ball. I mean, you got to be able to pass the ball. We're running it well, and it's not a thing against Taylor Heinicke as much as I know people think I hate Heinicke. It is, I'm just so sick and tired of seeing these playmakers, and we add another one in the offseason with Jahan Dotson, who's having a great rookie season when he's played so far. Phenomenal season. Like his hamstring was tweaked, so he didn't play the whole season so far. But still, him, Terry, Curtis Samuel. Tight ends don't exist, by the way, either. I've said I don't want Logan Thomas back next year. But the offensive line, atrocious, so bad. And I know we're banged up. A lot of other teams are banged up too. Go check on the Chargers. But still, it's just, and it's same with Wentz. What I want out of Wentz is what I want out of Heinicke, but what I want out of Heinicke, I want out of Wentz. I'm sick of seeing Wentz dropping back and just collapsing in the pocket and taking 6 sacks in a game. But I'm also sick of Taylor Heinicke missing these throws, and he just doesn't have the touch and the ball placement like Wentz did. So it's not a Heinicke thing. It's not a Wentz thing. It's a both of them thing. And I want this situation figured out because now we're 7-6-1. We're playing the 49ers next. They're hot right now. They're probably, in my opinion, the second best team in the NFC. I think they would beat the Vikings pretty easy, honestly. I think they're better than the Cowboys. That defense is lights out. I don't know if we score over 10 points against the 49ers unless we just run the ball down their throat somehow, which I don't think. They've got the best rushing defense in the league too. And for me, like I look at that Eagles game, we caused like what 3 turnovers. We ran the ball like we wanted to. Yes, they're banged up in the D line. They signed a bunch of guys afterwards. I know Jordan Davis was out, so on. But still, we ran the ball. We controlled the clock, and we got turnovers. I don't know if we can do that against San Francisco. We're not going to be able to run the ball like we did against the Eagles, against the 49ers, that's for sure. And they cause a lot of turnovers. They don't, even with Brock Purdy, who's looked really good, and I'm going to preview this game, I'm sure, they don't turn the ball over like the Eagles did in that game. So it sucks. This one, everything was lined up for Washington to just make a statement. Everyone's watching, show them, hey, we are for real. Doesn't matter with our quarterback limitations, whatever. We've got some studs on this team. Defense, in my opinion, played great. You only allowed 20 points, and 7 of those came from a strip sack on Taylor Heinicke. So realistically, they scored 13 points on offense. We should win that game at home. Are you kidding me? Sunday Night Football, playoffs on the line. We couldn't do it. So super frustrating. Still a great time. Love seeing everyone there. Like I said, it was freezing cold. Parking was a disaster as always. There was some fights afterwards, honestly. Security was running by. I was like, what is going on? A couple fans. I don't know who it was. But yeah, a couple fights right up when you get in your stands, like where like the bar and stuff was. But still, it was a good time. So if you didn't go, you missed out. Like I said, as you can tell, my voice sounds terrible. So I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Hopefully I get it back in the next few days. But it was absolutely worth it getting loud on 3rd down. After that Jahan Dotson catch, that 61-yard, oh my God, that place erupted. That's probably the loudest I've heard that stadium in a long time. So 3 more left. 49ers, Browns, and Cowboys. We're still not knocked out of the playoffs. Saw just a minute ago at the bottom of ESPN, John Collins has been reporting it too. Ron Rivera said they're sticking with Taylor Heinicke for now. But he said he is considering Wentz if they don't get back on track. And y'all saw me tweet during the game yesterday. Yes, the backup quarterback warms up throughout the game just in case, just to be ready, loosened up. But my guy, Carson Wentz, was not just warming up. He was like doing rollouts, like RPO, throwing dimes, dropping these like hard lasers to Scott Turner on the sideline, like between the breaks. Like my guy was warming up like he was coming in. And with only 55 yards in the first half, I thought we were going to see Wentz, honestly. But I'm telling you guys, it is not a personal thing about Heinicke. I'm rooting for him. I want our quarterbacks to play well. I want our team to win. But insanity is watching the same thing happen over and over and expecting a different outcome. I watched this man go 7-9 last year. The coaching staff did too, and they went out and paid $28 million for Carson Wentz because they knew Taylor Heinicke was not it. Have we been going on this crazy win, streak? Yes. Can I honestly say it's because of Taylor Heinicke? No. We ran the ball. Our run game has been out of this world lately. Defense played lights out, and Heinicke did enough to win these games. So, yeah, I was happy about it, but I'm just so sick of just this average quarterback play in Washington. So it needs to end. And, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos about the quarterbacks, whether it's Sam Howell, whether it's Lamar Jackson, maybe someone in the draft, Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, who knows. But like I said, guys, stay tuned. Got a lot of good things cooking up. after this game, I just wanted to rewatch it, look at the all 22. But man, there was just so much ugly in this game with just missed opportunities. Absolutely killer. But I appreciate y'all checking it out. Like I said, stay tuned. Got a lot of draft stuff cooking up. I'm going to get to that probably this week, maybe next week. Dropping the first guys. So got a lot cooking up. Football season's not even close to done. Recruiting wise, we got signing class and everything else coming up for Penn State. So I'm going to be busy. Always cooking up this Washington content. But like I said, adding that draft content as well. So subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support. Hopefully my voice comes back before Saturday so we can be yelling at the screen on Saturday as we go to San Francisco on Christmas Eve. If we win that one, that might be one of the biggest upsets of the season, honestly, because they are rolling right now. So appreciate y'all staying and watching the video. I will catch y'all soon for more content here on the JTFB YouTube channel on the show Taking Command with Josh Taylor. See y'all later.